So our next segment, we move into the race for Oakland County Treasurer. Got all my papers here. Hang on, I'll get it right. Yes, we'll be hearing from Robert Corbett and Robert Wittenberg. The same format will apply during this segment, and each candidate will be given 2-minute opening statements followed by questions and ending with a 1-minute closing statement. So I've been calling candidates by their first names this evening in order for it not to be too formal, but we have 2 Roberts in this round. And I went online and noticed that Mr. Corbett also goes by Bill. Where are you? Would you be willing to be called Bill?
No, because it's not my name. Bob.
Oh, Bob.
I didn't mean to. Although Bill, if that's what you want to go with.
I've been saying Bill for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, good catch. Okay, so there will be less confusion. So we have the Oakland County Treasurer candidates, Bob Corbett and Robert Wittenberg, and we welcome you both here tonight. So we will be hearing opening statements from each of you. We'll go in alphabetical order, and we'll be beginning with Bob.
Thank you, Emily. No, I'm teasing. Thank you very much to the 11th District Democratic Caucus or District for hosting this evening. You have a very important job in front of you this fall, and that's retaining the seat. I think it's, I don't think I'm exactly going out on a limb here to say retention of this seat is critical towards maintaining the majority in the House. So good luck. I certainly will be supporting your efforts as we go along. Again, my name is Bob Corbett. I am on the ballot as Robert. I am a lifelong Democrat. I began working in Oakland County Democratic politics in 1972. I was a McGovern delegate to the Michigan State Convention, and I have been working since then. I did run for county commissioner a couple times in the mid-70s. I was a Democrat in a strongly Republican district, so that didn't really work very well. But I've stayed active over the years. I've been a precinct delegate. I've kind of lost track. I think it's 15 or 16 terms now, along with my wife, the last 8 or 9. I am a member of the Madison Heights City Council, a lifelong resident. I've served, I've been reelected now to my 6th term. And I am educated at the University of Detroit. I came out of Bishop Foley High School. And I think I will quit there for the moment. And I'm sure we'll pick up as we go along on some of the other questions. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Thank you, Bob. And Robert Wittenberg, you have your opening statement, 2 minutes.
Thank you. Sorry, I was waiting to get unmuted there. Well, thank you to the 11th. Hello, everyone. Good to see some familiar faces. I'm Robert Wittenberg, running for Oakland County Treasurer. I am a 3rd-term state representative in Southern Oakland County. I've worked for the last 15 years prior to that as a licensed life and health insurance agent. I think I last spoke to this group at the picnic back in the fall, and a lot has changed in the world, obviously, since then with coronavirus. Also, personally, we welcomed our son Abel in March, and our daughter just turned 2 last week. So it's been exhausting, but it's been amazing. And things have also shifted in this country, as we've seen, as it relates to, racism and injustice, and it's long overdue because we know this hasn't been an issue just in law enforcement, but it has been prevalent throughout society. And obviously, I want to listen and continue to help and serve in the capacity as a state representative and hopefully as the Oakland County Treasurer. And I'm sure we'll talk about that a little more later. But I'm running because I love helping people, and that's why I'm in public service. I'm the same. I don't consider myself a politician. I consider myself a public servant. And I want to continue serving, but on a broader scale. And just briefly, as a legislator, I've worked on many issues. A lot of people know me. I'm the founder and chair of our Legislative Gun Violence Prevention Caucus, and I was doing that when I was being called out even by Democrats for being crazy for what I was doing. And so I always believe that I'm going to always do what's right, not what's politically expedient. Working on the graduated income tax, setting up a state retirement savings program. And I believe that our treasurer should be trustworthy and compassionate. And I believe those are the traits that I have shown as a state representative. We've hosted every month, we host 2 coffee hours, we host town halls, very responsive to our constituents. I think we should be both fiscally responsible and socially conscious as the treasurer, making sure that everyone in the county has equal representation. And so those are the things that I want to do as Oakland County Treasurer, and my time is up. So I look forward to the question portion. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Our first question, what are your plans to deal with the tax shortfall in Oakland County due to COVID-19? And we'll begin with Robert. You have 2 minutes.
So as of right now, right, so a lot of this, there's going to be a lag when it comes to the shortfall. Obviously, right now, as a legislator, we are seeing that in Lansing, and we have a hole in our budget, and we're going to have to deal with this. But I think what we have to do at the county treasurer, as a treasurer, we have to be very proactive to make sure that people are able to stay in their homes, right? I mean, the one thing that people are very familiar with the treasurer's office, unfortunately, is the foreclosure process. And so it is incumbent upon us to be very proactive to try to keep people in their homes. A foreclosure is the worst case scenario. We don't want anyone to be foreclosed on. It's bad for them. It's bad for their neighborhood. And so some of the things that I want to do are getting together, making public-private partnerships to put together homeowner relief funds and small business relief funds to try to help out, because we know this is going to have a lasting impact, right? This is going to go on for quite some time, unfortunately. And so being proactive in that portion, and then also education, making sure people are aware of the resources that are available to them. There are some grants and funding mechanisms that people can utilize from the federal government, from the state government with MISHDA. And so making sure that they are aware of the resources. Also, there's poverty exemptions that most people don't know how to apply for, and I would like to standardize that. And then the other thing is making sure that, like I said, proactive, so that people know that they can get on payment plans, that we can help them out as treasurer. And I've been a hard worker my whole life. I've been out campaigning for this, obviously, since September. And I think it's important that we host town halls, knock on doors, call people to make sure that they understand the importance and what we do as the treasurer's office to try to help and support them.
Thank you, Robert. Bob, the same question. What are your plans to deal with the tax shortfall in Oakland County due to COVID-19?
Well, I think Representative Wittenberg hit it right on the head. In my private life, I'm a real estate broker, and I have been for over 40 years. I think unique among all the candidates running for treasurer, I have hands-on experience with the treasurer's office that goes back 40 years. So I remember back before computerization and so on. The point of that story is I understand fundamentally the difference between the treasurer's office of Treasurer Meisner and everything that went on before that. I think he stepped forward some years ago and took the initiative on many of the programs related to foreclosure, getting out there, making sure people knew what their rights were, what their options were, and so on. I think the key is going to be going down the road, expanding that, whether it's through the town halls, whether it's through, we've actually in our community in Madison Heights have a group of volunteers who will go door to door. Now you got privacy issues you got to be careful about, but we'll directly reach out to families and ask if there's some help that can be given, some guidance that can be given. These are the sorts of things, because as a matter of fact, the treasurer's office used to be under the old days, just would sit there and it was sort of like in the middle of the track waiting for the train to hit it. We've begun to move forward with more progressive programming over the past 10, 12 years. We've got to expand that going forward, especially given what's going on in our country right now. There's no telling where the county is going to be 6 months from now or 12 months from now. Is Congress going to act responsibly and support working men and women, or are we going off a cliff until hopefully we get a Democratic president? So there's a lot of uncertainty there, and the point of that is whoever's the next treasurer has got to do their best to be out front on these things and reaching out to people in the neighborhoods and in our communities.
Thank you, Bob. The next question is related to that in some way. What do you plan to do to help soften the economic challenges faced by Oakland County residents due to COVID-19? And we'll start with Bob.
Well, it really has to do with a lot of the same things that we were talking about. Now, there is an additional mechanism that has yet to be fully explored, but I think that's only because it's been only about, what is it, a year and a half, we've had a Democratic government in Oakland County, a Democratic big D. And that's the idea of the treasurer's office and the county as a whole working with individual communities. That's the mechanism. The county lending its credit rating, its support, its financial acumen to go into communities that are having issues that they have to face. For example, infrastructure improvement. We've been hearing about that for 10 years out of Washington, in the last 3.5 years out of this White House, and we haven't seen anything coming from it. We've got to begin to deal with that here. And that's a way in the communities that we can continue to support the viability of neighborhoods. So that they remain places people want to live, people want to try and stay in. And if you can combine that with aggressive programming to help people stay in their homes who are under stress financially, really that would be a big step forward. And really, I think an expansion of the sort of work that the county commission and the county treasurer are doing now. So thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Robert, same question. What do you plan to do to help soften the economic challenges facing Oakland County residents due to the COVID-19? 2 minutes.
Yep, thank you. And yeah, I kind of alluded to some of this earlier. One of the things that I've talked about is, public-private partnerships, putting together funds, homeowner relief funds and small business relief funds, because actually anyone can pay someone else's tax bill. And so if we have these funds in place and then we are helping out those that need the most help, I think that'll be tremendous. That'll be, tremendous for the county and try to prevent these catastrophic situations from happening, right? We don't want to see what happened in 2008 and 2009. So it's really important to be proactive when it comes to that. I'm also currently working on bills with our current treasurer, Andy Meisner. I'm his state representative, and I'm proud actually to have his endorsement in this race, but working on legislation currently to try to help people who are impacted specifically with COVID-19 and how it's impacting them financially, but also moving forward, giving more discretion to the treasurer's office, because currently when it comes to fees and interest rates, it's standard, it's set at the state level. So trying to do more to give discretion so that the treasurer can actually be a little more lenient and help out those people that need it. As I mentioned earlier, standardizing the poverty exemption, making sure people understand that it is available to them. And then the last thing obviously is education, making sure people know the resources that are available to them. They have resources that are available through the federal government, through the state government, and we need to be doing all that we can to educate people so that they know that we are here to serve and to help them and to try to keep them in their homes. And so I completely agree that I grew up here in Oakland County and went to Berkeley High School. My wife's from here in Oakland County. We're raising our family here. We want people to thrive here in Oakland County. And so we'll do all that we can to make sure everyone can survive and stay and thrive in Oakland County.
Thank you, Robert. The next question, if elected, what is your highest priority? And I like the twist to this. What do you look forward to the most working on in January 2021?
So I think I'm first on this one, right?
Yes, you are. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. So I have, my main priorities that I talk about are, and again, we've kind of touched on these, but the financial security and well-being of every resident in Oakland County, making sure that everyone is taken care of here. And along with that is, goes preventing foreclosure. So that's really important. Also helping to recruit new businesses while supporting existing businesses. When we're talking about the lasting impact of COVID, obviously it's going to impact, the homeowners here, but it's also going to impact businesses, and doing all that we can to support them and make sure that they're able to thrive here in the community. And then one of the other things, obviously, is, you know, we herald we talk about our AAA bond rating, and that is important, right? That trickles down to our local communities as well, and so it's really important that we keep our AAA bond rating. So hopefully as the next Oakland County Treasurer, I would be a good steward, a responsible steward of our tax dollars, and making sure that we are investing. I know there's been some questions about environmental issues and things like that, making sure we're investing in companies that we're proud to invest in, and making sure that we are good stewards of the taxpayer dollars here in Oakland County. So those are the things I want to work on right away. And then again, engaging the community, engaging people to educate them so that they know what resources are available, and to know that we are here, because a lot of people don't know or aren't familiar with the Treasurer's Office does, or that they even exist, unless they get to the point where, unfortunately, they've had some kind of financial issues and have had trouble paying their taxes. So again, being more proactive, preventive, and helping people before they will ever have to come to us for that terrible situation, even before it occurs.
Thank you, Robert. Bob, same question. If elected, what do you look forward to the most working on? What's your priority in January of 2021?
Well, I think a couple of things, similar to what the representative was saying, but I think I especially am interested in working in the area of investment policy for the county. I think it's important that we continue to move forward in the direction that we are, with an open and transparent investment policy. And I think I would like to work with the Board of Commissioners and the executive in terms of trying to fashion a policy that at least seeks out qualified local lenders who are also investing in Oakland County and trying to do business with them. There obviously are limitations, and they have to meet certain qualifications of size and soundness. But I think it's important that we reward financial institutions that are already investing in our communities, that are also helping our families, and the workers who are helping to make Oakland County the tremendous place that it is. Beyond that, I really think that we need to take a hard look at, as has been mentioned a couple of times, what we can do in terms of gathering money and resources to support the communities, whether we're talking investment, as I said earlier, in infrastructure, in building, and so on. These are critical factors, because if we aren't supporting the communities, if we aren't helping our schools, then we risk losing our communities, our individual cities, and the value for the homeowners on their property.
Thank you, Bob. We have time for a quick question from the chat. This question is from Sandy. She wants to know, if elected Oakland County Treasurer, would you have to step down, either of you have to step down from other elected positions to avoid conflict of interest?
Am I first? I'm sorry.
Actually, okay, we'll start with Robert. This is from Sandy. If elected Oakland County Treasurer, would you have to step down from other elected positions to avoid conflict of interest?
I would not. No, not in my position. I'm actually term limited in the State House of Representatives, serving in my third term. That's a whole other story, talking about term limits and what they've done to our state. We have the most restrictive term limits in the country, and I could go off on a tangent on that. But no, I am all done at the end of December, no matter what. And so obviously I'm hoping to serve as the next Oakland County Treasurer. And funny thing as well, actually, with the Treasurer's Office, it's slightly different than other offices. You actually don't take office until halfway through the year in the following year. So I know, talking to Andy Meisner about this before, when he won and he actually beat an incumbent, he was hired on in the incumbent's office and worked there for some time until he actually took over as the treasurer. So no, it is not a conflict for me.
Thank you, Robert. Bob?
And as for me, the charter, I don't know about state law about not incompatible offices, but anyway, the charter of Madison Heights would dictate that after my election as treasurer is certified, I would have to resign from office a few days later in November. Now, that does bring up an interesting question. The representative was correct about the treasurer taking office in the middle of next July. We have an interesting possibility, though, if Mr. Meisner is elected executive He will be taking office shortly after the election. It's no guarantee what the Board of Commissioners will do, but there could very well be a vacancy in the treasurer's office in November. So I would think that the winner of the election would be appointed, but that's not a given. But whoever is elected better be ready to step up if Mr. Meisner is moving on. So don't you just love politics, you know?
An interesting thought there. So it's time for our closing statements. We started with Robert, right?
I think we started with Bob.
So Bob, yes. Okay, so we'll start with Robert for your closing statement.
Or Bill. Bill will go second
Bill.
and Bob will go first. So, all right, so my timer stops now. Thank you. Well, thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight, and thank you for tuning in. I think obviously my track record as a legislator, that I believe I'm trustworthy, I'm accessible, I'm transparent, and I think those are all things that we would want from our county treasurer. My time is limited, so just if you want to hear more, obviously this is very brief, and I appreciate you guys hosting this event. But if you want to find out more about my campaign or hopefully to get involved, you can go to my website, which is www.robertwittenberg.com. Very original. Happy to have a lot of endorsements, including your Congressperson Haley Stevens, Brenda Lawrence, Andy Levin, the current treasurer Andy Meisner, a lot of labor groups, all the Democratic state legislators in Oakland County. I think they've seen that I'm a hard worker, that I am someone that they can trust in this office, and they believe in me. So I'm honored to have all their support. But either way, if I am the Democratic nominee or not, I look forward to working with all of you to get Democrats elected up and down the ticket. This is a very important election, and I will do all that I can to support Haley and all Democrats that are running this year.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Take it away, Bob.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes. I just want to thank the 11th District for the opportunity to speak this evening. As I said, I have been involved in Oakland County Democratic politics virtually all of my adult life and a little bit before that. And I think it's terribly important for all of us, wherever we place on the ticket, whether we're county commission candidate or county executive or treasurer, to understand what the stakes are this year. And it affects us. It affects us here this evening. It will affect us over the next few years. A victory by the Democratic Party as a whole is not just something that would be partisan satisfying for me. I've been a union member, a member of a union family all my life. So that would be satisfying enough, but I think just the importance, I mean, every day you turn on the TV and it's just incredible, the kind of things I never thought I would see. And yet as Democrats, I think it's important that we stand up, that we show the quality of a party that we are, the kind of beliefs that we have, and work on behalf of the residents of this county. But thank you very much for having me tonight. It was terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. For both Robert Wittenberg and Robert Corbett will be running for the office of Oakland County Treasurer. We appreciate you being here and sharing your goals and vision for the office of Oakland County Treasurer.